She's going to give you her email address. She's already so open and helpful, I can't even tell you. And I've talked with, interviewed, met with, had meetings with, invested with monetarily and emotionally with inventors over the years with ideas I've had to the tune of a whole lot of money and a whole lot of emotional expense, and haven't been as excited as I was just in our pre-show meeting today to bring to you NancyTedeschi. You might know about her from her award that she received from Walmart Get on the Shelf Award for her invention called Snap It. She's going to talk in detail about the process of having an idea and how you go from having an idea to bringing it to store shelves, which is a long and grueling process, and she is of the mind it shouldn't have to be so hard, and she wants to change the innovation of this country and the process to get things on the shelf be consumer driven instead of buyer driven, retail driven. So we will talk about that in just a moment. She has again agreed to give her email address with any of your questions. We don't usually have a lot of callers during this show, but I will open it up to you if you have specific questions for her. But I do want to say that we are going to be covering her story in detail, so your answers will probably be given throughout the show. So we might prefer to have you email her after the show with your specific questions about your specific idea and or with anything that we may have left out. So give us a chance to get through the hour. If you have anything really, really pressing, feel free to call, because it is a call-in show, obviously. You're free to do that. But if you have specific questions, Nancy will be giving you that information at the end of the show. When we come back, we're going to be talking with NancyTedeschi. She is the inventor of Snap It. She's here in the studio. We've been planning this for about 5 weeks, and I'm so excited to speak with her. I think you'll be excited to hear what she has to say as well. We'll be back with more on the Life of Lisa show, 560 KPQ.
At People's Bank, we understand the importance of local businesses probably better than anyone. We've been one here for 91 years, and in that time, we've been fortunate to help a lot of other local businesses succeed. Local businesses create jobs. They build families at work and at home, and they provide countless resources that make our communities stronger. It's very well accepted that it's smart local businesses that drive Washington's economy. So whether it's helping you manage your cash better, financing a second location, upgrading your equipment, or a good idea that simply deserves support, we have just one simple goal for our business clients. Let's make it work. People's Bank, a higher level of service since 1921, member FDIC.
If you're looking for a business banker who's an advocate for your success, call Dave Mann in Wenatchee at 509-664-5311. Put Dave and People's Bank to work for your business today.
When it comes to real estate in Wenatchee, no one gives better advice for today's complicated market than Nick McLean of the Nick McLean Real Estate Group, the top-selling real estate team in North Central Washington. If you want the latest trends for making the most money buying, selling, or investing in real estate, tune in next Monday at 3 p.m. right here on KPQ when Nick takes on your challenges and gives you real solutions and explains how he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to or have it bought. That's next Monday, 3 p.m. right here on KPQ.
Hi, we're back. I'm Lisa Bradshaw on the Life of Lisa show, 560 KPQ. We're going to hop right into it because we have a lot of good information for the show. She's NancyTedeschi. She is the winner of the Walmart Get on the Shelf Award, and she won with her product called Snap It. It's always those really good ideas that we have in our heads, and then maybe something happens, life gets in the way, and we don't see it through, but she has seen it through, and she's here to share it with us today. Thank you for being here, Nancy.
I'm excited to be here, Lisa.
I'm already so excited to meet you and to know we are going to be friends.
Me too.
I know, I'm so excited about that. But let's talk first. So people might be familiar with your product, might not. So let's just get them, let's go from the beginning, because this is one of those things where I think sometimes when you get in a setting where maybe you're doing an interview that's 4 minutes long on Good Morning America or something, and it makes it sound so easy. So I really want to illustrate for people during the show that there's a beginning, middle, and an end that's still going on that got you to this point. So start first. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and if in fact you had any background in innovation or inventing anything before, and how you got to this specific idea.
Well, one of the things I'd like to say is that I barely graduated from high school, I had low self-esteem, and I never thought that I would have ever invented this screw that I invented. I ended up going back to college after about 8 years of being out of high school, and I had to take remedial classes to get into college, and I ended up graduating from college with a degree in biochemistry, and I had a 4.0 average.
Wow.
So it all has to do with self-esteem and believing in who you are and in yourself, and that's a big message that I like to talk about because I think it brings it into the innovation world. I owned a title insurance company for 20 years, and my mother was over in Nicaragua doing missionary work. She's she's been to all 7 continents, and she travels all over the world. And she broke her glasses when she was actually building latrines over in Nicaragua. And she took her earring out of her ear, and she stuck it through the hinge in her glasses, and she actually had a temporary fix for her glasses. And she had this dangly bead hanging from her glasses, and she traveled everywhere, Japan, India, and people on the streets were accosting her, asking her where she got this charm for the glasses. So she came to me about a year later, and she said that I had to invent charms for glasses. And so the first patent that I have is for charms for eyeglasses. But in the process of doing that, I was taking the little screw out of the glasses and having to put it back in, and it would take me like an hour. And one day I just had this aha moment about this snap-it screw, and I took it from there, and that was the beginning. They say that necessity is the mother of invention.
Absolutely.
And it
Absolutely.
certainly was in my case.
So you have this idea. So you go from having this. You did get a patent for the charm for the glasses, but then this is something that has become your business. This Snap-it product. So what is the process? You have an idea, then what? Because a prototype is not easy. That's where a lot of the money starts to come in. So you have this idea, but you don't know how to make it. You don't have anyone to make it. You know, I mean, some inventions you can at least sew them yourself or do something, but when you're looking for a prototype for a screw, you need some help.
Yes. And the first thing I did was I actually, there is the United States Patent Office that you can go on and you can do some research about you can do some patent search work if you put some, typical words into the search mode to find out what is out there, to see if your product is currently made or out there. Like I put in snap-off screw, break-off screw, and you just have to get the words of your invention to see what's out there, to see if there's, if there's nothing out there, then you move to the next step. And of course, the next step for me was I needed to find a mechanical engineer, because I thought, well, I have this idea in my head, but I need to bring it to life. I need to put it on paper. So I did some Google searching in my area to find a mechanical engineer or designer, and I called him and made an appointment to sit down and explain to him what my idea was. Now, before I did that, I actually filed for a provisional patent, which costs right now about $120.
That is the greatest advice I think you'll give all hour, because some people don't know about that. That's like a placeholder for you.
Yes.
To go forward.
Yes, and most attorneys don't tell you about that because they don't.
That's too cheap.
They want you to spend your money
Yeah.
doing the patent. So really, I actually filed my provisional patent myself, and all I did was I drew the picture of the screw that I had in my head, and I wrote down like 4 or 5 claims that I thought my screw was able to do. A line, break off at the break off point, and I sent in my provisional, which then protected me from somebody else being able to go and get a patent around me. So once I did that, the next important thing is, even though you filed for your provisional patent application, you need to draw yourself up a non-disclosure, non-compete. So
those are easy to find online as well.
Yes, and they're easy. You just Google an NDA is what they...
And put in your own names and everything. So did you do this as a DBA, or did you file for a corporation?
I have an LLC.
But before you did all this, did you do it on...
No, actually, no.
Just under your name.
Did it under my name.
Yeah, which is fine. So right now at this point you've spent $120, and you got the provisional patent before starting to talk with some of these engineers just to protect yourself?
Well, you don't actually get a provisional, but you file for one. Yes.
So you did that to protect yourself, because if these are engineers, then they'll know how to do it, right?
Exactly.
And get a jump on you. Okay,
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So then I got it drawn. I met with a mechanical engineer, and I think he charged me $500 to have it drawn up. And then at that point, when I had the drawings and stuff, I was able to go to a patent agent. I actually used an agent, and he's very good. So if anybody wants his name, you can email me, and I'll be happy to provide that information for you. Because agents or attorneys are, they're federal, so they don't have to be in the state that you live in. And if you find a good one, they could live anywhere. You don't really have to meet face to face with them.
So the difference between an agent is someone who's my assumption would be that they're planning to take a part of the money that if it's generated or no. How is the difference between an agent and attorney?
Okay,
just for those who are not sure.
Patent agent actually has to pass a patent bar exam, so they're not able to practice law as far as an infringement case goes, but they're registered with the United States Patent Office as an agent, and they can actually file patent applications and get you patents.
Okay.
And so they just don't practice law. That's really the only difference. And most of the time, agents are less expensive and they're more knowledgeable because
that's all they do.
Exactly.
Okay, so you did that.
So I did that. I filed for my regular application in August of 2008. And then I actually went and got a prototype made. And how I did that was,
Okay, hold on. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll go to the prototype part. So at this point, you've got a provisional patent that you filed. You've got an agent, a patent agent, who's helped you write this up, and you have a mechanical engineer. So you've spent about, for my calculation, $620.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll hear more from Nancy Tedeschi. If you want to know more about her project, just take a look at Snap It, and you'll be